Very often in the Gospels, Jesus sets the bar very high for those who want to be his disciples. It sometimes seems that he sets the bar so high that he doesn't want to have disciples. For example, he says, those who want to follow me, you have to carry your cross every day. If you want to follow me, you have to give up your parents, your mother, your brother, your children, everything. He also reminds us that if your eye makes you sin, pluck out your eye. If your hand makes you sin, chop off your hand. There are many places in the gospel where the bar, as I say, is set very, very high for what it means to be a disciple. But today, it's the completely opposite. Today, he says, come to me if you labor and are burdened. It seems like some days, he's very demanding, and other days, he's very welcoming. He's very understanding of our weakness. And I think that the fact that Jesus has two so apparently different positions is that he understands that sometimes we're meant to be encouraged and challenged, and sometimes we're meant to be embraced in tenderness and with patience and mercy. Today is one of those beautiful days where he embraces us with mercy and patience. And he says, come to me, all you who labor and burden. Who among us is not labored and burdened? Are you not burdened? Do you not labor? Do you not need rest? I certainly do. Because sometimes I feel burdened by the things in life, by my own sins, by my own deficiencies. So he says, come to me, those who labor, and I will give you rest. And today I think it's a beautiful day to consider, do we find rest in the Lord? And what I mean by this is, when we are burdened, where do we turn to? And I'll give you a couple of examples of what people normally do, starting with myself. What do we do when we burden, when we're tired? Number one, we complain. We complain and we try to find solace in complaining. Other times, we cope with food. We cope with social media. We cope with finding entertainment. But the key here that today Jesus is giving us is only when you give him your burden, then it's when you feel renewed. Listen to what the prophet Isaiah says in the first reading. He says, he gives strength to the fainting. For the weak, he makes vigor abound. Though young men faint and grow weary, and youth stagger and fall, they that hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar as the eagle's wings. So I think that the key today is one more time grasping and understanding that only in the Lord is that we find true renewal. In all the other things that we look out for coping, we're not renewed. Only with Jesus we're truly renewed. So let me finish this homily with two questions. The first one is, what makes you feel burdened? What is it that's making you weary and tired? And what's burdensome in your life? And the second question is, where are you taking your burden? How are you coping with your burden? How are you coping with your frustration? My encouragement for today is, whenever you feel burdened, turn to the Lord and be certain that he will give you true renewal.